All right, Anoop just declined, so it'll just be us today. As a progress update, I've been working on getting scheduled with some more product-led company leaders. I did some call outs to a couple more VPs at different companies listed in this issue here. So if either of you have contacts for VPs at these different kinds of companies that are listed in the linked issue, I would love an intro. Again, I'm just interviewing them about how they are evaluating their product managers, and we're taking notes, and we'll incorporate some of that feedback into our career development framework. And then David, I transcribed a to-do right here because I think last week we mentioned that we would make that introduction.
Yeah, I didn't do that because all the companies I listed to Anoop, he said didn't fit the mold.
Okay.
I'll go back through my contacts and see if there's any other ones that ended up not being on the no list.
Got it.
And then I might have some contacts at Mongo and Elastic, so I'll see if any of them are still there.
Perfect. That'd be awesome. And then on this next issue, I've created a proposal, and I'll go ahead and share my screen and we can kind of go through it in here. So this issue is around conducting an internal interview for product manager responsibilities. So what Anoop is hoping to accomplish with this part of the segment is take a internal review of what leaders or the field or customer success team are expecting from individual contributor product managers and evaluate what these different perspectives expect of our product managers, and then create like a competency of that perspective and incorporate that inside our career development framework. So I have a list of different proposed contacts that we would want to sample and evaluate. And the idea is to create a survey with different product manager expectations. And in a past role, when I did this, it was way more effective to have it on like statements and to evaluate it on a Likert scale rather than being open-ended. Because when you do it open-ended, then you almost put people's conceptions of what product managers should be doing in their mind. And then when you put a product manager in front of them, when that person doesn't do that, then you have cognitive dissonance about that role. So that's the first step. Then the next step is to distribute the survey to these various populations. We'll create like a sampling of that population. Then to conduct this other step is optional. We can sample of that sampling qualitative interviews. So to pick key leaders or key representatives from each of these different segments and actually interview them of what they expect of product managers and bring that back to you all for kind of review. And then we would all review the key themes that came out of that expectation across the sales and customer success team, and then create core competencies for that.
Oh, this is actually exciting because I think what you'll find is both on the sales side and on the PM side, there's a disconnect. And I don't know, Josh, if you've seen that, but I've seen that with some team members who aren't exactly sure the competencies they're supposed to have for engaging with sales or engaging with customers.
So again, you're saying the PMs that are supposed to engaging with sales are engaging with customers, but aren't engaging with sales? That was that 1 second. Okay, go ahead. I thought I lost you, but
okay. No, I muted myself. No, what I'm saying is that some PMs have said sales reached out and wants to pull me into a demo or want me to talk to a customer. Is that really my job? I thought that was the job of an SA. And yes, that is probably true. But I guess they both can be yes, right? And so getting that sense that Jackie's talking about from internally interviewing sales leaders and PMs at some point, I think the disconnect is going to be obvious. And so I think it's a good way to build an understanding as to what the expectations are. Does that clarify,
Gotcha.
Josh?
Yeah, no, thanks. That's helpful. Okay, I haven't seen that, except in some cases. But anyways, we can have everybody. I think it'd be helpful to get, yeah, their input on what they need. I think it'll also help surface gaps where product isn't necessarily servicing what they need. I heard one time like enablement and training is lacking, whether that's product, whether that's marketing, like we can figure that out, but it'll also help, I think, surface that as well.
Am I missing any audiences in this particular list? I think would be helpful. So I did ping you all on that, so you have a to-do. And would be good for you all to look at that list of proposed contacts and to understand if I'm missing a level in there, or if I'm missing someone that you think we should be sampling, or if there's a step in that list that you think I should be considering.
It might be worth adding like product marketing leadership into that. That's kind of the third leg of engagement.
Okay.
I can add that as a comment if you want to the issue.
I just edited it in real life. So we're good.
Do we incorporate engineering here as well? I mean, we're pretty closely tied off, but it might be interesting to just cover them as another stakeholder.
I think it depends on what the question is. Like, is the question, what is product doing with engineering, or is the question, what is product doing with non-R&D teams?
Yeah, I
thought it was the latter, not the former.
think this is really about like non-R&D responsibilities and expectations. But we can
Okay, I mean, if that's, is that based on like where we see the gaps right now? I'm also coming in sort of fresh to this effort without a lot of background, so
I think what I
so
can
targeting
do,
the field side of things is one thing, but
I think what I can do is put together the various list of expectation statements, and what we can do is see if it makes sense to include engineering evaluation in that survey for that.
yeah, I guess I'm maybe not super clear on. So I looked at the working group page, and it seems more about just overall, you know, revamping the CDF and incorporating industry standards and industry expectations, not necessarily focused specifically on like the go-to-market side or like the field side, but is that true? Or
Well, I think we're taking different angles of the CDF, and that's what all of these issues that have been created are for. So the first step was to research industry based and how we stack up. The second one was to evaluate product-led company requirements and conduct external review. This first step is evaluate, like conducting a survey. And I'm totally about including engineering or other internal stakeholders evaluation of PM requirements. I think when Anoop posited this conduct internal interview for product manager responsibilities, his focus was on the field and sales evaluation, the go-to-market perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree that that's an area we need to focus on. Like if there's a gap, that's what a gap's going to be. But you know, when you ask like, is there other people we should be interviewing? Yeah, I would consider engineering to be a large stakeholder in what product management does.
Certainly.
But I would agree that that's working better right now than the go-to-market side.
Yeah. And I do think that it does depend on, again, the questions, the expectations that we're evaluating. And if we look at how the industry evaluates product managers, there's different segments of skills that they're evaluated on. So we may create different surveys for those kinds of skills, and evaluate different statements based off of that. So we may evaluate engineering and design separate from the field.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So I can create an issue for that. So, and then we can discuss with Anoop when he gets back or when he attends the next one. So I think that's valid from like a engineering UX perspective.
Yeah, I'm just speaking from a completeness standpoint, rather than a focused effort.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. What I don't want to do is lose the accuracy of our responses by making the survey too long for field and sales, or too general, so that the Likert scale becomes, of course they agree to all of it because they're so general.
Right. No, I think making tailored surveys totally makes sense.
Yeah. Does that make sense, David? Am I going crazy?
No, it makes sense.
Okay. That was a good call out, Josh. I added that issue there. Okay. So next up, I'll start this survey with the various statements, and then would love your thoughts on if there's other kinds of statements that we should be including. And a lot of this will be based off of what Juliana will be providing, which will be the Radford piece on product manager baseline and what we learned from the product-led companies, like what product managers are supposed to be doing. And then we might throw in some stuff that our current product managers are doing on what we have in our competencies framework. And then it'll be agree, disagree. And we'll see what you all say about that. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. And then I canceled our meeting next week because I'm on PTO. Anything else from your perspective?
Not for mine. I'm very happy with all the progress, Jackie. I think it's awesome that we're going to get a lot of this fleshed out. So thank you for taking the lead and driving it forward.
You bet. I think we feel like we need a lot more support for this. Awesome. Well, thanks, Josh, for making it to this meeting. I really appreciate having you on this team.
Yeah, no, thanks. And sorry, I'm still trying to, I didn't have a lot. I think this sounds like there's some context that I haven't necessarily been paying attention to, perhaps. So I apologize for asking basic questions that we've covered elsewhere. But no, I'm looking forward to this. Agree. This is important work. And it'll be really interesting to see the results of sort of comparable companies, and
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much. We'll talk soon.
thanks.